Dear friends, how the Hindu right forces have penetrated judiciary is reflected by the recent anti-Muslim speech by a judge of Allahabad High Court. Shekhar Kumar Yadav, who is a judge at Allahabad High Court, made a speech for almost half an hour under the banner of the legal cell of Hindu right organization Vishwa Hindu Parishad, and he has spoken against the constitutional values of secularism, pluralism, minority rights and inclusion. He has supported majoritarianism despite the fact that he has taken oath of the office and he has taken a solemn oath to work as per the values of the constitution. The opposition parties have demanded that an impeachment motion should be brought against him. However, his statement is an occasion to reflect upon how the Hindu right is making inroads into judiciary. So, in today's presentation, I would like to discuss some of the key arguments of Justice Yadav, and I would argue that why his statements are not only anti-constitutional but they are also an example of hate speech. So, let me begin with the key points of his speech. As I have told you that the meeting was held within the campus of Allahabad High Court. The meeting was held on 8th of December and he was invited to speak. Vishwa Hindu Parishad is a body which is affiliated to RSS and it is a Hindu right organization which believes in Hindu supremacy and aggressive nationalism. Indian Constitution, on the other hand, is based on the ideas of secularism, pluralism and minority rights. So, a judge who is supposed to be the custodian of the Constitution has attended and spoken and given his speech for 33 minutes, and the topic of his lecture was Uniform Civil Code, and he has used that platform to make anti-constitutional statements, to make statements against Muslims, to create a binary between Hindus and Muslims, and to demonize Muslims community as violent, as anti-women, as a burden on the development of the country. So, in his speech, he has said it very clearly that if this country is one, then why shouldn't there be one law? So, the Hindu right agenda that one nation and one constitution should necessarily have one law is being articulated, being repeated by the judge. Friends, in legal theory, now it has been realized that legal pluralism is much better approach than the theory, the approach based on assimilation and uniformity. But what is happening in India, that against the historical reality of the Indian society, which is multicultural, now the ruling establishments are desperate to bring about uniformity. In the name of uniformity, what will happen? That the rights of the minority, their cultural practices, which are now protected against any interference by the constitution and its laws related to religious freedom and minority rights, that domain will be encroached upon by the Hindu right by taking the excuse of bringing a law which is uniform. So, uniformity is very much a majoritarian agenda, and Honorable Judge has spoken in favor of majoritarianism and uniformity by arguing that the country should have one law, one constitution and one nation. But if we ask the same judge that why there are multiple levels of schooling, why there are people who are living in slums and why there are people who are living in post colony, why can't all people, everybody should have equal pay, should have equal education, should have equal access to health, education? If that question is asked, if equality is demanded in the field of, let us say, salary or material reality, then the Hindu right will not be interested. The Hindu right is only speaking for uniformity in cultural domain, not as far as material equality is concerned and removing material inequality is concerned. They are not interested. So, in the name of uniformity and linking uniformity with the progress of the country, basically the design is to impose the Brahmanical, the minority Brahmanical culture on Dalits and Adivasi, the indigenous people, the ex-untouchables, the religious minority, the backward caste. This is the agenda, and this has been the goal of the Hindu right, and they have been successful to an extent by changing laws, by changing the syllabus, by controlling media, by placing their people at multiple places, by changing the syllabus of the books. And if you read the recent books which were published by the government agencies, you will find that one culture is glorified and the other culture is being erased or downplayed. So, India is being equated with a particular religion, a particular culture, and similarly the same logic continues, and that logic is talking about uniformity, uniform civil code. And the Honorable Judge Justice Yadav has repeated the same thing. So, this should be a big concern. Earlier what was happening, that such demand was made by the politicians who belong to the RSS and BJP, but now the judges, people belonging to, let us say, legal fraternity, those who are holding higher post, they are coming out in favor of let us say majoritarianism, and they are in one way upholding it, giving it a legitimacy. Friends, India is a very diverse country. No particular religion, no particular culture can be equated with national culture. National culture, if it has to be made, it should try to incorporate the diversity, while the Hindu right is trying to equate India with Hindu culture, with Brahminical culture, with Aryan culture, despite the fact that much of what they are saying Hindu is very much recent construction, and even the term Hindu has Persian and Arabic origin. So, during the colonial time, the Hindu identity was constructed because by constructing a majority, they could be able to rule this country. So, that fact is completely silenced, and a myth is being constructed that Hindu India is ancient, and all those who belong to minority culture, they came later, they were foreigners, they were invaders, and they are basically responsible for the decline of the Hindu culture. So, the revival of India can only happen when Hindu culture is reconstructed, it is imposed, and all those who are different from Hindus are assimilated into this larger group. This is the danger to pluralism of India, and as a judge, Justice Yadav should have been in a position to understand it, but since he has been ideologically trained by the Hindu right organization, he is in fact speaking in favor of majoritarianism and trying to equate India with Hindu culture. So, in his speech he said that no one can show disrespect to Ishwar, the God of this country. So, he is basically asking in a threatening language that the Muslims community should not disrespect the God of this country. Now, India being a secular country, how could there be a God? How could a state has a religion? The basic principle, the first principle of secularism is a state has no business with religion. A state cannot have its own religion, and while a state is making its policy, it cannot discriminate its citizen on the basis of religious identity. Indian secularism is a bit different in a sense that it is based on equal respect to all religion. It is not against religion, but it does not mean that it has its own religion or it has given preference to any religion or there is any official religion. Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism or any other religion, they are all equal in the eyes of the state. But what he is saying, that the God of this country should not be disrespected. But he has never said which God he is talking about. How could a secular country can have its own God? It is not a theocracy. And the legal scholars have said that Indian polity, Indian constitution have some fundamental principles, some pillars, some values that cannot be broken, that cannot be taken back, that cannot be demolished. And secularism, pluralism, minority rights, inclusion, justice, equality, they are some of them. So, basically his statement is against that values, that secular values, that a country should have a God and that God should not be disrespected. So, this has been the agenda of the Hindu right, that they have always tried to present Hindu culture as national culture, and they have tried to equate Hindu culture with the national culture. So, anything if you do which is related to Hindu culture, it is okay, it is normal, because it is a national culture. On the other hand, any religious symbols of the minority community is looked down, it is suspiciously looked at, or it is seen as a posing threat to secularism. In his speech, he continues to operate within the binary, and he has said that Hindus have been able to done away with all their social ills, but Muslims are still deeply embedded in social ills. So basically the method of Hindu right is to create a binary and to argue that Muslim society is not reformed, Hindu society is reformed, Hindu society is progressive, Muslim society is regressive, Hindu society has given equal rights to women and Muslim society has not given equal rights to women, Hindu has only one wife but Muslims have 4 wives, and Muslims are producing more children, and that is how they are changing the demography of the country. And if they have more children, they are taking more resources, and if they are taking more resources, then India is not progressing. This is the logic. But nowhere, no government data has ever shown that polygamy is found more in Muslim society. There are, on the contrary, there are some reports, there are some official reports where it is shown that the number of the cases of polygamy is more in Hindu community. And then to say that Hindu society is reformed and Muslim society is not reformed, that is also highly objectionable argument, and it is not objective. Caste system is very much there. The conditions of widow is very bad in Hindu society. Dowry is a problem, domestic violence is a problem. Women has very little access to material goods. They are denied property rights. So these issues are completely ignored by the justice, and he is only talking about the Muslims issues. And he has also said that Hindus are very tolerant, Hindus are very liberal, they are non-violent, while Muslims are not. Muslims are violent. And to substantiate his argument, he is saying that in our society, that is Hindu society, we are being taught that we should respect even the animals, even the ants. On the other hand, if a child is born in a Muslim society, the child is brought up in an environment where he is shown the slaughter of the animal. This statement he has made, and then by giving this statement, he is now drawing this conclusion that now the Muslims are violent. Now my question is that there are many companies related to buff and meat business, and many of them are owned by Hindus. Hindus are vegetarian, they are non-vegetarian, they also eat meat, and the Hindu right has been involved in anti-Muslim riots. They have taken to violence. Even the Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated by a Hindu. He was not assassinated by a Muslim. And even historically speaking, Buddhism ruled over this country. Buddhism spread over this country, and it remained the major religion in India for centuries. Where are Buddhists? Is it not a fact that the Buddhists were attacked by those who now today are proud of majoritarian religion? Baba Saheb Ambedkar has said that it is not a fact that Brahmanism is a counter-revolutionary ideology which has annihilated, which has attacked Buddhism. So the Buddhist history, the Buddhist monasteries, the Buddhist temples, which were found everywhere in this country, where are they? Did they disappear one day, or were they demolished? To argue that Hindus are non-violent and Muslims are violent, it is also very untenable. Look at the Hindu society from the perspective of a Dalit, from the perspective of Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Read his writings on conversion, read his writings on anti-caste movements. You will find that he has given an open call in 1930s to Dalits, ex-untouchables, to convert to other religion, leave Hinduism, because he realized one day that they could not get equality within the Hindu fold. So if Hindu were so tolerant, if Hindu were so liberals, if Hindu were so great, why touchability existed in India? Why were the class called untouchable, who were denied all their civil and their political rights and their economic rights? So basically, the honorable judge, by creating a binary Hindus and Muslim, and then saying that Hindus are tolerant, Hindus are law abiding, Hindus have already done away all the social evils, social ills, they have given all their rights to their women, Muslims are not. He is basically creating a binary, and it is continuing the same logic of Muslim bashing, demonizing them, and turning them into a society which is a burden on the development of the country. A person who is well versed in legal matters, if that person is making that statement, then it is a symptom of deep problem, deep crisis within the Indian society, particularly in judiciary also. And his argument that uniform civil code is great, and if country has one law then it will develop, that is also not objective, that is also not correct. Even the Law Commission's report, 21st Law Commission report, has clearly said in its report, it is available, submitted in 2018, that uniform civil code is not needed in India, it is not desirable. Instead of imposing uniform civil code, it is basically the Law Commission report, 21st Law Commission report, is talking about reforming personal laws, not only of Muslims, but also Hindus and Christians and other religious community. The spirit of Law Commission's report is that uniformity is not desirable. Wherever there is a problem, we should try to address it, and it is looking at women's questions holistically. It is not looking at women questions from Hindu and Muslims point of view. It is looking at women problem from gender point of view. But what Hindutva forces are trying to do, they look at gender questions from communal angle, and that is why they keep talking about uniform civil code, because it gives them a space to continuously demonize the Muslims community. Friends, through seminars, through symposium, conferences which are being funded by the government, and those program and conferences are not creating, not providing any space for critical discussion, but they are using those platforms to demonize, to keep that anti-Muslim, that discourse very hot. My PhD was on the same issue, the personal law, and I have, even in my PhD work at JNU, which was submitted in 2018, I have argued in my research that pluralism is much better than uniformity. This is what the Law Commission is also saying. Legal pluralism is much better than uniformity, because India is a multicultural society. In the same speech, he has said that the honorable judge has said that irrespective of the fact that you are a businessman or you are an advocate or you are a student, you are a Hindu. So he has taken the oath of the office, he has taken oath of the constitution, but he is talking in terms of Hindus and Muslims binary. While he is saying that Hindus are tolerant, he is also making this statement that do not consider Hindus as coward. So he is also using a threatening language. He is all praised for scrapping of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir. Similarly, he has also praised the construction of Grand Temple in Ayodhya. But he has never mentioned that the temple was made by demolishing a Babri Masjid, and through that agitation thousands of people were injured and killed. The court has not even accepted the claim of the Hindu right that there is a case of the destructions of the temple in Ayodhya. The court has also said that demolition of the Babri Masjid was an unfortunate event. So look at the irony that the court has not accepted the argument that there was a Ram temple that was demolished by the Muslims, and on the very place mosque was constructed. There is no historical evidence. Similarly, the demolition of Babri Masjid on December 6, 1992 is also seen as unfortunate. There is also the cases of violence, death and destruction. Yet the court, by respecting the faith of the majority community, has given the judgment in favor of the Hindu right. So if court starts giving judgment based on the faith, and now there is also reports that several mosques are being called controversial and they are being claimed by the Hindu right. So what has happened, that the Ayodhya judgment has opened a Pandora box, and now the whole campaign against the religious places of the minority is being promoted by that judgment. And the Honorable Chief Justice of India, who gave that judgment, has given a statement that he prayed to the God, he meditated for a long time, and then some wisdom came to him through the intervention of the God, and he gave that such a historic judgment. He should have said very clearly that such a judgment, that it was made under political pressure. The Ram temple was inaugurated even if it was not complete months before the general elections. Similarly, once the judgment came in favor of Ram temple, the cases of buying lands increased multiple times, and all those rich people started buying lands and they went into this real estate business. So how the temple has been used for serving political purpose, how the construction of temple has been used to serve the interest of the rich, the powerful, how it has been used for profit generations, how Ram temple issue has been used and excuse to demolish the houses of the common man in Ayodhya. These are conveniently ignored by Honorable Judge. He is from Allahabad. I think he is in a position to know those things very well. And close to Allahabad, there is Ayodhya. And when the elections took place in 2024, a few months back, the BJP lost there, and a Dalit candidate won there. It shows that how the people were angry in Ayodhya. So basically the statement which has been made by the Honorable Judge Justice Yadav is against the ethos of the Constitution. It is against the historical realities of India, and it is a serious case of how our judiciary is being hijacked, being communalized by Hindu right forces. So we need to speak against that. I am not the right person to say how we can take actions against the Honorable Judge. Some people have argued that impeachment motions should be brought in the parliament. I am not sure how far it will be successful. Another person is saying that PIL should be brought against him. So, but I believe that all those steps are important, but we need to take this matter as a political struggle for saving this country, for fighting against communal forces, for defending the pluralist ethos of this country, and whatever the statement Justice Yadav has made, in my opinion, is not an isolated incident. While action should be taken against the honorable judge for making such a statement against minorities, against the constitution, we should also not forget to look at the larger picture. This is what I have to say, and I once again thank you for listening to me and watching this video.